Welcome to Not Strong. This is a podcast for men about empowering the human spirit. What do you do when the things you relied upon quit working? When your physical and emotional strengths are put to the test? Do you push through, hold on even tighter, or have you learned how to surrender? And what does that look like? We're here to explore the human spirit, tapping into something bigger than ourselves, living a happier, healthier, more fulfilling life. Thanks for joining us on the Not Strong journey. Welcome to Not Strong. My name is Curtis Loftus. Not Strong, empowering the human spirit. We are on episode 3 of season number 2, and today I have a guest with me that I've been excited about talking to, Paul Frase. There's a cool.
There's a history there.
Yeah, there's several stories too, so I have to be careful. Because I will go down a rabbit hole. Anyone that knows me knows my rabbit holes. Grateful to have you join us. I know your time and the work you're doing right now. You're a very busy man, but this is meaningful to me, so I appreciate it. Now, what I'd like to do, Paul, is just do a short intro on you, if that's cool.
Absolutely.
So anyone that's never heard the name Frase, you never know. There might be two.
There
people,
might be,
two,
a
three.
couple. Yeah. I was never a household name. That's for sure.
Well, Paul, you are a former NFL football player. You graduated from Syracuse University in 1988, a degree in psychology. I don't think I knew that until I started more deep research on you. Yep, psychology. But your football career was in 88. 19, you're an old man. I'm sorry, dude.
88 to 98.
98.
Yes.
And,
yes. I am old. 60 years old. That just happened I'm almost 61.
I'm 64. So I still got you on the senior citizen.
Okay.
So I still got you. But you played for the New York Jets, which, that's fine. But I really care that you came here to Jacksonville and played for the Jacksonville Jaguars in our inaugural year, right?
95, 96. Coach Tom Coughlin took about 3 years off of my life. Yeah.
You were with what would have been, at least in my estimation, that inaugural season and those couple of years were phenomenal for me as a Jacksonville resident, always believing that we needed a football team, ready for us to have a football team. It took forever for us to get it, and I know all the backstories on that. But then you left in 97 and went to Green Bay?
I didn't leave. Tom kicked me out.
Okay. Yeah. But you went to Green Bay, which wouldn't have been a bad thing because you went on to a Super Bowl.
We went to the Super Bowl and we lost to Elway. That was Elway's first Super Bowl win. It took me 10 years to get to the Super Bowl in my career. Did not go in my 11th year. So,
wow. Well, that's really cool. And you finished with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes. It was all smoke and mirrors by that time.
Here's another thing that I didn't know about you, Paul. You guest clinched, which is a peer voted Ed Block.
Yeah.
Right? The Ed Block Courage Award. You got that twice?
Yeah, that was a special award. It's an award you really don't want to be voted on, but if you get it, it means you kind of had you had a tragedy and you overcame it, and you came back and you had a solid year the following year. So my first, and I'm the only, I think it's almost 50 years, I'm the only 2-time winner. And interestingly, the Jaguars, so the first year when I was with the Jets, I had my Graves' disease and I came back and played really well the next year. So my teammates voted me. It's very meaningful because your peers vote.
Yep.
And then the Jaguars. We had my son, Joshua.
We're going to get into that a little bit. Yep.
And really, really quick, so the whole team voted because of my son. Oh, wow. They voted for me. And the Ed Block Courage Award wrote back to Mike Ryan because it went through the trainers, because Ed Block was a trainer for Baltimore for years. And they said, he's already won it. We need somebody else. And Mike Ryan said, if you don't have a Paul Frase, you don't have anybody else. And they brought me out.
Way to go.
And anyway, cool. So it was attributed awesome. To Joshua.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about Joshua. This is why it's going to be difficult, because there are some powerful testimonials here. I'm going to jump to today, and I'm going to have this whole middle portion that we're going to fill in the blanks with, okay? So today you are...
Are you going to tell me the answers? Or no? Go ahead.
You're So you are doing a lot of work on the brain injury side of things, concussion and that sort of thing. You're doing motivational speaking as well right now. So you have what's on your hat, the Head Rush podcast. Big part of your life right now.
Yes.
A huge part. And I think that's extraordinary again, because it's going to go to our overarching topic, which I shared before you sat down with me, the way Tim Hamby and I used to do our show together. And Tim was one of the founders of this, Not Strong. He was willing to share. Both of us were diagnosed with cancer. His was rather aggressive. Mine, prostate, his colon rectal. And he passed December 18th. Past year. We had about 7 months together doing this podcast, put out 6 episodes. We talked every time we were together about our human spirit, what that looks like, what that means. How do you grow it, empower it? How do you rest in it? Well, it's all of that stuff, Paul. And that's why I think you and I can talk at least comfortably about it, because I met you in recovery.
Yes.
Yes. And
you were way ahead of me.
Oh, not really. No. So I got in 2014 finally.
Well,
and I'm a 53-year-old man when I finally made it there. So let's do it that way. When did you first try, or maybe go after that recovery thing?
Probably in my mid to late 40s.
Okay.
And I did not get the miracle until the day of my second stroke in 7 days.
There was another one. Now, see, I didn't even say, I have two things that I know are going to be big challenges. One is going to be Joshua. Yeah. That's the big one. Yeah. Your family, you as a husband, I know you've split. You and your wife aren't together now, but unfortunately, but you have a beautiful daughter, Bella. Bella.
Yes.
And how old is she now?
She's 24.
Okay. So all of that's going on in your life. I'm just sitting in a room looking across, and I'm thinking, that guy's kind of familiar. And that's how we always do it in those rooms. You're just
right.
You're introducing yourself, and you're learning who's, alongside. And I'm like, wow, I started to realize how powerful the disease was.
Right.
When I saw other men and women going, through this thing that we all eventually have to get to, if that disease is on us. That, if we're struggling with alcohol addiction, whatever it is, man, it is to this day the only hope true hope that I've ever found is that program and those people.
Right.
Right.
Well, they you get a lot of insights, and especially, in that system, you have a sponsor. Just
yep.
Yeah, there's a wild story about that. My sponsor.
Mine too. I did one of the shows with my sponsor.
You?
Oh yeah, it was great. So awesome. He was willing to do it, and that's again a result of this openness. Without we totally dial in on the anonymity. Only if some man is willing to say, Curtis, if it helps another human being,
right?
We won't talk in the brand format and all that kind of stuff, but we can certainly talk about the stuff we learned.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I had my sponsor talk with me, and it was great. I hope it helped a few men out there, because I think there's men that just can't do this conversation because it takes some vulnerability.
Right.
Honesty, vulnerability. It takes some openness, some of that stuff that you just, especially careers, you go, how's this going to, if you can't do that, right? So all of this ties back to a point in both of our lives where you can talk a little bit more about it, because your career's set. You're your own boss.
Right.
You've been through a life of stuff. But when you and I met, right? 2014.
Yeah.
Our trajectories were totally different, different backstories. Everything's different. But today we're talking resiliency with you. That's where we're going to go with this thing. And I think you have the best way to deliver that to some of our audience and listeners.
Yes.
So can we pray?
Please.
Before we do this.
My mind is going on like 37 different ways.
But we're going to get to you and I meeting in that program.
Okay.
And then where you're at. So here we're going to pray first. Thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity to sit with really just an amazing man, Paul Frase, and have a chance to share a little bit of his story with the audience. Hopefully I know it's going to be meaningful, impactful. and encouraging. So all this through you in your name. Amen.
Amen.
So 2014 is when I got in. When did you make it in?
All I remember is coming into a meeting that I needed to be at, obviously, and I was at the end of my rope. I had wanted to stop drinking, and it was getting in the way of my job and getting in the way of my relationships. And when your then 12-year-old, 13-year-old son says, "Dad, why can't you stop drinking?"
Wow. So you heard that from Joshua.
I heard that from my son, from Joshua.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh.
He said that to you. Oh gosh, Paul.
Yeah, that stings. And then just some of the just ridiculously foolish things that happens.
Well, so what's going on in your life? I'm going to now interrupt, but with Joshua, when he's saying dad.
Yeah, when he started calling me out, yes.
Yeah, and so he was diagnosed and tell me the disease and when he was diagnosed.
So myotubular myopathy. Joshua was born in 1995, and he was one of 55 known cases in the world with the muscle disease called myotubular myopathy. At that time, there was only 3 articles written about it. 2 were from 1967.
Wow.
Yeah. So we saw some horrific pictures and horrific outcomes, and we were told 50% of these kids do not make it to their 18th month of age. So
you're playing football. That's your career.
I'm still playing football,
and you have this going on at home, and
Joshua was born, and then 18 days later, I was drafted in the expansion draft of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Wow. Wow.
And then Tom Coughlin said, "Hey guys, it's voluntary." We call it voluntary, mandatory.
Yeah, that's right. You give up a lot of your life.
Well, he wanted to get the new team together as soon as he could, and I think it was March 8th. March 8th or March 15th, I think, that we had to report.
Were you carrying some guilt about that a little, or
well,
no?
When Joshua was born February 2nd, and we hear he's got 18 months maybe to live. I was like, just tell me how to keep my son alive. I'll do it. I'm coachable. Just tell me. And I, quite frankly, was saying, you know what? I don't know if I need to be playing football or need to be figuring out how to keep my son alive. And eventually Allison and I had some deep talks about it, and we knew I had to have insurance. We had to have insurance.
Yeah.
So that played a factor in go back to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to ask about your faith. What was your faith like then?
I was born, I'm a preacher's kid. So I learned about all the stories in the Bible very, very, very young.
Yeah.
I believed. Yeah. So my faith, well, when Joshua was born, my faith was strong. I went through the normal, hey, what is this religion about really? And in my early 20s, I was kind of searching, but I always believed, but I put God on a box on the shelf, and my walk with the Nazarene. I love saying all we're called to be is followers of the Nazarene.
Okay.
That we're called to be followers of Jesus and how he loved and lived. That's what we're called to do. And eventually, after studying some other religions, and then I really just wanted to know about other religions and know how to talk about them, but I've always had that strong faith in a salvation and we're
okay.
So
so you weren't like, I would have imagined there's a bit of arguing and complaining and why is this, or are you saying, look, I'm giving it to God?
I'm saving that question when I cross over and I meet St. Peter at the gate and say, can you introduce me to Jesus? And I need to know why. Now, interestingly, I just experienced my father of 90 years old. He actually just passed away on Tuesday.
going to ask about that. I heard, yeah.
Yeah. And he actually he shot Joshua unfortunately passed. He was 40 days shy of his 16th birthday.
And was not expected at all.
That was not expected.
Not even close to that.
I believe is because God had a plan. God had Allison and her mom as a grandparent. And I was traveling for the first 3 years, going back and forth from playing football. And Allison and her mom had to revive Josh and keep him alive many, many times. So,
but they're also spearheading the research and any of the they're just
we started the Joshua Frase Foundation 1 year after Joshua was born, and they located the gene. Jocelyn Laporte over in France located the gene.
Beautiful, by the way. There's videos out there. There's things people can find. That are extraordinary. It'll blow your mind.
Yeah, if you go on the Joshua Frase YouTube channel, Joshua Frase Foundation YouTube channel. Yeah, you can see some pretty amazing things. We were on CNN, HLN's. They had a series. I think it went 5 or 6 years. It was Something's Killing Me, kind of crazy series to have. But we were the issue of the Miracle Dog, and I think it was season 2, episode 3, or season 3, episode 2.
Okay, right. Anyway, that's what we're doing right now. Season 2, episode 3.
Yeah. Oh, good.
There we are.
Maybe
there's a little tie, whatever.
Yeah,
but that's cool. Very good. I mean, I know I was honored to work on a cover for that book, and that took us a few months.
Yes,
but that was nice to have understanding and that process going through those months with you, because there was a lot of work you were doing, and there was things that were happening that were like big things at that point in time, weren't they?
You think about this really quick. Your former Tim Hammy, you started this with. Mm-hmm. He actually helped us with the Joshua Frase Foundation in 95, 96, 97. Wow. He was doing his marketing.
Yeah, it was Renaissance Creative.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden,
that's so funny.
You and I had done a couple little tiny things, but then you helped us actually with the book cover of Joshua's story.
There it is. That's beautiful. Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Tim's work, I mean, I've told this to anyone that wants to listen. When he was producing work, when he was their agency was one of the best.
Yeah, they were hot. You think about, Allison.
Yeah, right.
Maybe that's why it took. She's kind of.
We'll just say particular.
Perfectionist.
You could be a perfectionist. But there was a few iterations of that book cover.
Yes. So you understand, she was searching out the best of the best, and Tim Hamby.
Yeah, Tim was one of them. Yeah. So, gosh, that's cool. All right, you're in this thing. We're on a resiliency journey with you right now. So, how hard were the staying in the rooms? Because now it's post-career, and I sometimes feel like a football player, people that have really big, meaningful careers, and then they have maybe a little bit of a struggle. Is that hitting you at all, or sort of what do I do?
Yeah, what do I do? It was absolutely hitting me. And you talked about a psychology degree.
Right.
Well, wonderful degree, but it's not going to make you more than $50,000 or $60,000 a year being a counselor at the school, the local high school. Mm-hmm. How do you replace a $270,000 salary? Mm-hmm. How do you, and it's a problem if you're not prepared, you don't have certain degrees, you're not.
No, I get
not
it.
Entrepreneurial.
They're doing better at that with the players now, right?
Yeah, the players are given some resources, and if they really search it out, they can set themselves up. Not to mention the fact that when my rookie year, my minimum salary was $55,000, which is what I made. I started 8 games and I made $55,000 living in New York.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, and that's Cafe Iguana. The Budweisers were $7 a pop. Gosh, thank God that's over. So anyway, but now the minimum wage is over $800,000 a year.
Yeah, sure.
So if you're an undrafted rookie and you make the team, you're making almost $1 million a year. If you're anyway, yes, we tend to struggle. Athletes tend to struggle.
Yeah.
The averages are very high of divorce and broke.
Yeah.
I think it's 5 years after you get out of the league, it's up to 75% are broke and divorced.
Tim was able to have us with a special guest probably 6-7 months ago, Joe Zelinka.
Oh yeah, Josie.
Yeah,
I did it. He did a lot of like the bowling stuff for. He had his charity.
Just a great guy.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so we had him sitting down and talking about some of the same stuff with athletes, in the profession, and what in his life is just radically different. He was at the funeral, Tim's memorial service.
Right.
It was great to see him again. But now that's a spiritual leader, Joe. And some of the way I guess he managed himself in the locker room was pretty cool.
Doesn't he have like 5 kids? Does he have a lot of kids?
I think so.
The whole tribe, right? So yeah.
But he's got that way about leadership. I think was just really good. So that's cool. But for you, when I met you and saw you for a few times and we were learning about each other, and I'm just listening to your stories, and it wasn't easy for you, was it?
No, I was down when you go in, you don't go into those rooms on a high, and I was low, and I just couldn't figure out a lot of things, and I was drowning. I was self-medicating, turning to alcohol.
Mm-hmm,
a lot of beer.
Yeah.
Way too much. And, you start getting 4 or 5 nights a week, and you start having your son eventually call you out.
Wow.
And I was lower than low, and I knew I had to stop. But when I saw you originally, I was white knuckling it,
You were white knuckling it, but you were putting on a pretty good show then, because I think you were doing things that were community oriented, maybe still, or were you?
Yeah, I was doing. I mean, I was trying to do a couple different jobs. I was trying to get some traction, work wise.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were still doing the Joshua Frase Foundation, and we.
That must have been hard, Paul. Show up at events, show up to functions where you're having to put the mask on, or just put on a good game face.
It's game time.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to, and we at the start when Joshua was born, I really wasn't not relying on the bottle of beer. We were fighting. I was still playing.
Yeah.
And I didn't have issues at that point. But when the lights, when you walk off the field the last time, and
Yeah.
And they start calling you.
Yeah. And you're living in Ponte Vedra, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably trying to sustain a lot of...
I was on the other side of the tracks in Ponte Vedra, but Ponte Vedra is Ponte Vedra.
You're still trying to keep a lot of balls in the air.
And you have a car that it costs a lot of money to keep it on the road and insurance.
Yeah.
You have, when we got out of the NFL, they did not give you insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I think they paid for 1 year, and then you had to go on Cobra.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think they pay for 3 years, but during your playing time, they force you to save medical savings, and they send you out the door if you play 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
So
am I going to jump too far ahead into the story if we talk the stroke, your first one? Do you want to fill in some blanks before we get there?
Really quick. Yeah. Let's
go.
Okay. So I was down and I was white knuckling it, and then all of a sudden and Joshua, he passes away.
Okay.
Now, I was 7 months. I had 7 months because I went through about 8 years of getting 3 months, getting a month, and then I had 7 months at one time. I had 9 months at one time. I had 7 months of sobriety before when Josh died. had I been drinking, I've never thought of suicide ideation. I've never had that. I've never had that issue, but he was my life.
No.
And had I been drinking at that time, all bets are off.
Right.
But then I struggled a couple years later, and for a 7-month period, and then that culminated in 2 strokes. You never.
Days. Okay, so you never had like a DUI. Did you get a DUI? No. So some of that, sometimes that stuff. I know, but is it? I don't think that's necessarily a great thing either, because I never had a DUI, Paul.
Really?
No, never had one. I had some close calls. And I think back on my life, and I'm wondering, wow, how did that happen? Because I've, not nowadays. You just have to have gratitude. You have to be like, just so grateful of the things that could have happened.
Grateful that you didn't hurt anybody. Yeah,
that's right.
Thank God. Because
crazy. Yeah.
You didn't hurt anybody physically.
Right. Emotionally, for sure.
You're. Yeah.
So the first 2 strokes back to back, right?
7 days apart. At a TIA, and
that what year is it?
It was 2018. It was February.
The first one.
The first one was February 7th, 2018, and then the ischemic full-blown stroke was February 14th, 2018.
And Paul, by the way, I remember you coming back to say hello to us again.
Yeah.
And I had already known some of the impact that stroke had on you. Yeah. And I don't think anyone imagined you were going to be having conversations like this with you, me. I mean, tell me,
it took my speech. Fortunately, I did not get any paralysis or, left side paralysis or palsy or anything like that. It literally just took my speech. And I was 1 centimeter away from that happening, taking me out.
Okay.
Possibly, the ultimate, losing your life. But so I could not talk, and I had to teach myself how to talk again.
And with your family now, you're separated, but you have your daughter. Where's she at this time?
She was still in high school at Ponte Vedra.
Wow. And you and I used to talk about our girls a little bit back then, because we cherish our children, and obviously with I have 2 daughters, and my oldest daughter could somewhat, in the way we shared, I could say we addressed some of the same kind of challenges, because my oldest daughter's built a little bit more like me than my younger one. Love them both, but the older one, and it sounds like Bella's built a little bit like you.
Yeah.
Maybe some of her mom too, right? Does she have both? Is that?
Yeah, she has both.
Yeah.
And
So she's now how old?
24 years old.
Wow. And you said something. I don't think it's on the podcast, but because we said it before the podcast, but the shark story.
Oh my gosh!
Is she swimming?
Well, she was over in Hawaii for 6 months doing YWAM, Youth with a Mission.
Oh, good.
3 months there, and then 3 months out of the mission field. She was in Panama and then Fiji, and then she comes back for kind of sign out and a regroup in Hawaii for a week, and she happens to go swimming with sharks. Yeah, and I ask you, Curtis,
would you ever do that?
Would you ever do something as foolish as that?
Because you wanted me to support your logical brain and say, of course not, Paul. I would never do that. But no, I swim with sharks all the time on a surfboard.
I know,
and honestly have had them chase me before.
Have you really?
Yeah, just enough where it gets. When I say chase, it's one of those, you see the fin, you start to make your direct go another direction, and if the fin stays in the general direction you're going, it's never comfortable. It's like, this is not good. I want to get out of the water as quick as but usually they're just small bull sharks or something like that.
That's great.
They're not.
They still bite.
Yeah,
They still have to feed.
Right. And you now have how long in sobriety? How many have you tried?
February 14th, 2018, and coming up on 8 years, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you got, yeah.
it'll be 8 years.
8 years,
and,
yeah. Congratulations.
If I don't drink tonight.
Something tells me you won't. I mean, I know we're careful about that. We never brag and we never boast. And that's in fact,
well,
if you,
to that point, it's so hard if you haven't had the miracle,
right,
to really be consistent and know that you're not going to drink today.
Right.
Probably not tomorrow either.
Yeah.
So whatever. But when I had my second stroke in 5 or 7 days, and I was standing in the Mayo Clinic on the 5th floor, and they let me stand. They usually strapped you down in your bed because you got the palsy and your balance is messed up. They tried to do it, and I started hopping on one leg, and I said, I couldn't talk, but I'm like, look,
right.
That first night, standing there and thinking, if I keep doing this, I'm dead. I want the opportunity to walk my daughter down the aisle, and boom.
It hit you.
That was my miracle. Yeah. And they say in those rooms, do not leave before the miracle happens. No. Whoa.
Yeah.
But when you're white knuckling it, you're like, where's my miracle?
Yeah, you're hanging. Exactly. That's a great way to put it, because you're just hanging on for something. You're not sure what it is, how it looks. You're just hanging on for dear life. And you can go through any number of different responsibilities with that same attitude. Right. I'm just going to, and you're never going to fully understand it. With the program, it has to kind of just be like, I get it. And I can do this. And I see it's like I tell people, I mean, for me now, it was clear. My mind was wrapped around this whole other way of, a whole other kind of relationship with God. Right. With the higher power. It was like, it was only until I said, oh, I get it. This is all you. Yeah. You have everything. Yeah. I'm just here by your grace. I just am lucky enough to say, hey, thank you, God. And by the way, what can I do for you today? All of that stuff became, it's all you. Yeah. God, I get it now.
Being a steward.
Yeah, perfect word. Yeah.
Being a good steward of what we have been given. And everybody's given something.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're now dealing with this whole new, let's call it career. The work you're doing started how long ago?
We started the Head Rush podcast. It's been about 16 months.
Well, I'm going to also say to you, I want to say to the audience, you're also a builder, and you're a pretty successful guy. You built a thing right beside our office, and I watched it go up. That was darn beautiful.
That was a beautiful duplex, and it's for sale. So
no good. But, it's right there in Jack's Beach, and it's pristine. Yeah, it's
a nice project. It was really good.
Multi-story. It's contemporary.
It has an elevator.
It's got. I very rarely see that, and some people may not like this, but that fake grass, the artificial turf. Yeah. It's sweet. Yeah. It's sweet. The whole package is well done. Do you like doing the work? It's right hard. There
are so many opportunities for solutions. Literally, I just down in Ocean Hammock. We're building a oceanfront house down here in Palm Coast, and we're getting ready to do the footers. And literally, it was a 3-hour meeting on site. Wow! And I was able to put the pieces together.
Okay.
And we finally were able to get the answers we needed. So opportunities for solutions. And the owner was standing right there.
Nice.
And seeing how we
move through these little things. Yeah.
There's always speed bumps in construction. You just have to work through and communicate.
Yeah. So the Head Rush is now how long have you been doing
Head Rush podcast, we've been doing it for 14, 15 months. No. I would have not. I've always wanted to help guys in the NFL going through brain stuff. And at 47 years old, I flatlined and I thought all my dopamine, serotonin, GABA, everything was flatlined, and I couldn't figure things out. it was
Yeah.
scary.
Bet you it was.
And then about 6 months later, my friend Chris Nowinski, he had been working with Boston University, and Ann McKee and Bob Stearns out there, and Robert Cantu, and they were doing a clinical trial for biomarkers, trying to find biomarkers for CTE.
Okay. Well, all right.
Chris Nowinski calls me, "Hey, Paul, we're doing this." And I said, "Sign me up." And I'm on the plane 2 weeks later, and I go up. I started learning what CTE is.
Did you get scanned?
Yeah. They did all the scans.
Yeah.
They still don't have a definitive way to. They don't have a biomarker. Well, they figure the tau protein is the biomarker, or a sense of a biomarker, but they tried to get radioactive isotopes to attach to that. Long story short, they're not there yet.
Okay. But this concussion, it's mostly based off of multiple concussions, correct?
Yeah.
Kind of jostling the brain around in the skull a bunch of times.
Yeah. What they said when I went up to Boston University for the clinical trial, one of the questions was, have you ever had concussions? And I'm like, yeah, I've been knocked out, I don't know, three or four times. Well, when I was going through the 500 pages of medical records of my NFL career, I saw two more times that I don't remember getting knocked out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, then they said, well, okay, what about seeing the color purple, having a split second dizziness, seeing stars, the whole
All
deal.
that, yeah.
And they had about 15 things. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Every day, multiple times a day? What do you know, they said, well, what's going on? Well, now they know. And I started saying at least 5,000. And then I started thinking, and I added up all my practices and all my time, 20 years of organized football. And I'm like, I don't know, 10, 12,000. And I thought it was incredulous and it was crazy to say, you know, on a podcast or in an interview, I've been hit in the head 12,000 times. Well, it turns out it's probably about 15,000 to 18,000 times, and they call it repeated head impacts.
Sure. Okay. Yep.
And that's what causes the CTE.
Yep. Makes sense. Yeah. I remember you and I chatting when we had time together, because you were always kind enough to ask about my job, what I'm doing, and we talk about our kids. And you asked me a few times I actually dialed in on some of this because I've hit my head so many times wakeboarding, slamming it against the water, and like not necessarily blacking out, knocked out, but like whoa, and coming up. Jet skis, you do that.
People banging. Jet ski riders had died, and they found CTE in their head.
Yeah.
I guarantee any sports, any concussive sports. That's what our message is from the Head Rush podcast. First of all, there's hope. First of all, you're not going crazy. You got something wrong, and the bottom line is, concussive sports there's no safe age. There's no safe age to play concussive sports.
Okay.
Period.
So they're saying right now,
there's a choice.
Right. So
you got to make a choice.
But there's parents saying, look, if I just hold my kid right now out of when they're in early development, if I hold them aside from any of these sports, and maybe they want to do it by the time they're 18, they think that's going to help them?
Well, quite frankly, the last part of your brain where the myelin sheath actually covers the axons in your brain for protection. The myelin sheath is the little lipid, protector of the neurons. Okay.
All right.
The last part is the prefrontal cortex.
Okay.
When you bang your head, you damage the prefrontal cortex. The myelin sheath does not develop in young men, probably young girls as well. It develops faster in young girls until they're 18, 19, 24, 26. So parents, please, please parents, flag football.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
No, there's no reason to strap a helmet on your 7-year-old and let him go out and bang his head, because he will damage it. Yeah. And it is proven that hitting your head over and over and over again can and will cause mental health issues.
Yeah. So, do you think, and I'm down a little rabbit hole with you on this, do you think the sport will change at all or no?
I think in the youth it has to change.
Yeah.
It really has to. I mean,
Yeah.
I think pee-wee football, tackle football, really you go away. There's no reason. You flag football, you can do the agilities, you can do all that
Are
fun
numbers
stuff.
changing in
They have. I mean,
but I'm saying, are people kind of carrying this message along with you? Is it growing? It's a growing number.
There's more people.
Yeah.
Chris Nowinski has been talking about it for 20 years, and he got booed off the stage and ostracized from coaches and parents. And we don't believe that. The CT is not real. Well, it is real, and it's going to hurt your children.
Yeah.
And it actually causes addictive personalities, depression, and suicide ideation.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've seen that with a lot of NFL players that end up getting their brain studied after a suicide or some kind of depressive moment.
Right.
I heard you actually got Brett Favre on the podcast.
Yes, yeah.
That was probably pretty powerful.
Yeah, very powerful. Especially he's dealing with the Parkinsonisms. Yeah.
The Parkinson. So that's also
Go ahead.
I've met. So I'm interested in a little bit of this correlation between that brain damage or the CT versus the what is Parkinson's, and then my mom has dementia. I've told you, I think I've shared with the friends that I have, close friends, that there's a chance I may move into that just from a genetic standpoint. A chance. I have to do some studies and find out, but the Parkinson / dementia thing is pretty.
It's increased in NFL players. It's increased in it's a higher rate of Alzheimer's, higher rate of Parkinson's, higher rate of ALS, higher rate of dementia, severe dementia overall.
And I guess he's been recently in the news because he's been upfront about it. He's talking, to media. He's saying he's not hiding from this, right? Is he taking
who's
Brett Favre? I'm sorry.
Oh no. He will say when he was on our podcast, he said, "Look, I have Parkinson's. It's diagnosed." He said, "There's no reason to talk about where I got it. It doesn't matter. But interestingly, he said, after retirement, when he retired about 2 years after, he went back to his hometown and he literally campaigned to get rid of Pop Warner contact concussive sport and tried to go full flag football. Yeah. So he's a definitely proponent. Yeah. Now he actually says 18 years old. And quite frankly, the truth of the matter is, to keep it palatable so people don't get booed off stage, they say, well, 14 years old, and then you can do it. Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't play football until 14 years old. Mm-hmm. I played 20 years of football. It's a 30% increase every year you play. You have another 30% increased chance of getting CTE. The latest studies are 346 out of 375, 91.7% of that group studied up at Boston University had CTE. Dead NFL players. Now, Bob Stern will tell you, well, that's a biased sample because all the families that knew their guys were acting like a fool the last 10 years of their life, they wanted us to study their brains. So that's a high.
Yeah.
Okay, what is it? 50%?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If it's 50%, it's way too high as well.
Right. True. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last thing I'm going to say for the parents about this. There's a study from Boston University, 152 kids, 30 years and younger, all dead. Never played NFL professional, never played in the professional sports leagues, but they did play concussive sports, football, hockey,
right,
soccer, the whole deal. 100% had brain damage, white matter brain damage.
Okay.
100% had mental health issues.
Wow.
There was over 50% of them committed suicide, died by suicide, and there was 41%, never played in the NFL, but 41% had CTE.
By 30.
By 30.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Wow, Paul.
So it's just very important for the parents to get an education.
And do you, when you come at this with your speaking engagements, and I don't know how you split them up, because I'm imagining you're really coming at most of your speaking engagements as a motivator, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I have not had actual speaking engagements for this type of information and content. We do talk about it pretty regularly on the Head Rush podcast. Of course. Yeah. Because my co-host, and he's the reason we're doing this, he's 55 years old. He's TES, traumatic encephalopathy syndrome, probable CTE. He rode professional bareback bronc, not bronco, and he'll tell you.
Bronc?
I said, Corey, you were a bronco rider. And he says, no, you played the Broncos. I rode bareback on broncs. So he's a great guy. But anyway, we do talk about those issues.
Yeah. But when so on the resilience side, I'm gonna get us to sort of wrap this thing up. When you think about resilience and you look at your life and some of the things that you share with men now that are kind of impactful, powerful demonstrations of resilience, have we touched on a lot of that, or I'm missing a couple things that you might be able to share with our audience that reflect that resilience?
You can never fail if you never throw in the white towel.
Do you think, Paul, sometimes, again, before program, after program, the way you see resilience is different now, or perseverance, or determination, or any of those things? Do you think you come at it with even more of a kind of a surrender, or a God sort of, hey, grace and God, that kind of?
Absolutely. It's all about hope. It's all about relationship, and you get, hope, faith, and charity. Hope, faith, and love, right? What is the greatest of these things? It's love. But you can't help other people unless you find help for yourself first.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah.
And you have to, resiliency. My son died almost 16 years ago. Wow. Yeah. And there's a lot of people. One thing in the rooms, I used to talk about my son right after he died frequently. And then I heard somebody else talk about their child, losing their child. And I'm like, whoa. There's a lot of people in this room have lost children. Mm-hmm. So resiliency. What are you going to do? Are you going to drown your sorrows? Are you going to try to find a cure for a disease that there's 5,000 to 8,000 kids out there with? How are you going to live your life? When I flatlined at 47 years old, and I literally thought I was going crazy, and there was some things going on in my mind. What do I just give up? No, I've got to find out the answers. And the fact of the matter is, if you don't have hope in a higher power, a God figure, in my case, it's the Nazarene, Judeo-Christian. What is our existence even? What does it matter if you don't have that hope? I hope my hope lies in, I'm going to see my father again on the other side. I'm going to see my son Joshua, or if not, they're on the other side and they are in kind of a nirvana, I suppose. However you want to.
Do you? Yeah, I think it's what I've learned from the program, or at least I'm a lot more accepting of the mystery now.
Right.
I didn't think I was capable, at least coming into this surrender and saying I am a mess.
Right.
I wasn't comfortable with the mystery. I wasn't comfortable with some things that I couldn't control, manage, couldn't get my brain wrapped around, weren't going the way I wanted them to go. And it just seemed like that once I stopped drowning my sorrows and getting lost in my own self and starting to do some discovery work and starting to listen to other people and hear about that hope, and then put some action into it, just doing the work. It's kind of amazing now, isn't it? That you get to work and do some things that are meaningful, and you're not, walking around like a zombie or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially hitting 64 years or 60 years old.
I'm 64? 64. I'll be 65. And by the way, I get Medicare. Yeah. Why not? I mean, I remember when I hit 40 and got the first AARP card.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was devastated.
Well, you think about it. Are you ready to retire?
No, I love it.
I don't see myself retiring. I see myself working really hard for the next 10 years because I feel like I'm doing it better than I did it way back then.
Oh gosh.
Lord.
Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, I'm doing things and the relationships I have, and my life's a lot simpler, this little space that you're sitting in right now. I love it.
Right.
I'm not chasing things and worrying about how I, might be perceived or compared to other, people my age. I just kind of let a lot of that go.
Yeah.
Relationships are better. Yeah.
And you're closer to your family too.
And dude, I'm like, the one is, so the two girls, one is inside of 2 miles. The other one's inside of 1.5 miles.
Oh, wow. That's,
and the 4 grandchildren are like,
well, that's what it is about. It's relationship and relationship. My whole family up in New Hampshire, they're within an 8 or 9 mile radius, two older brothers, 1 younger sister, and then like 12 grandchildren from my parents, my mom now, and then they had 7 great grandchildren, all within, I don't know, 8, 9.
You told me there were about 40 of you.
Yeah, we had an extended family about, or my mom's side of the family about 20 miles away in Concord. We always used to get together, so we actually had December 27th. We knew my father was sick, and it was close.
Right.
So December 27th, we decided to pull out all the stops and get all the family here on board, and and we had 45 family members come in and just celebrate life and relationship.
Way to go, brother.
Yeah.
Well, I know we've chewed up the whole hour. I just looked at my watch, and you got a hard stop, because there's some work you have to do. But I loved this. This was great, and I appreciate it.
Let's
we're gonna
do it again.
I hope so. Yeah, I want to continue to encourage men in this surrender that we get to live out, and the resilience that you show has been extraordinary. And I thank you for sharing it.
Well, I've been blessed for a second and third and fourth and fifth chance.
Amen. Thank you, Paul.
Yep.
All right, this has been Not Strong, Empowering the Human Spirit. Thank you guys for joining us. Until maybe 2 weeks from now, see you again.